Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing my February book haul for you. It's coming to you a little bit late, so I'm sorry about that. And also there is construction that is going on outside and it is super annoying for me as well as for you. It'll just be for a couple of videos that I'm filming today because I want to film and get these videos done. I don't really have a choice of when else I can do it. But anyway, I'm going to show you all of the books that I got in February, so here we go. The first two books that I picked up are China Rich Girlfriend and Rich People Problems, and these are books 2 and book 3 in the Crazy Rich Asians series. I really enjoyed the first book so much that I obviously picked up the next two, and I can't wait to read these. One of them's actually on my TBR for March because that is how excited I am to get to it. Next, I picked up 2 Christina Lauren novels. The first one being Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I am excited to read this one, but I'm also a little bit apprehensive because I know a lot of my friends really loved it until the ending, so I am going to go into it bearing that in mind, but I'm still very excited to read it. And I also picked up My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren, and this is the UK cover. I ordered this one from Book Depository because I felt like it fit better with this cover and with the cover of Roomies. Sadly, it is a lot bigger, so it doesn't really look great when they're next to each other. There's a clear height difference, but I still really like this cover so much more than the US one. I don't know why that was the US cover. Next, I picked up Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is the comic that is by Alice Oseman, and I read Radio Silence in February, and I really loved that, so I immediately ordered Heartstopper. I ordered my copy from the Book Depository, so it's out in the UK. I don't know that it's actually out in the United States yet. I think that you can pre-order it, but it hasn't actually been published here. Also, thank you so much to Simon & Schuster because they sent me an ARC of There's Something About Sweetie, and I'm so excited to read this one. It's the companion novel to When Dimple Met Rishi, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. I really enjoyed that book, so I can't wait to see how Rishi's brother fares with Sweetie. And this one's actually coming out in May. Then I got these really cute editions of The Little Prince and Peter Pan, and I ordered both of these from Book Depository as well. These are classics and they fit in with a couple of the other books that I have in this collection. I have the Anne of Green Gables one, and I want to say I have at least one more of them, but slipping my mind at the moment. I've also decided that I really want to complete my Penguin Drop Caps collection by the end of the year, so I picked up the next 2 that I need in the alphabet, which are letters L and letters N. L is Native Speaker by Chang Ray Lee, and N is 5 Children in It by E. Nesbitt. And I just love that they have the sprayed pages. They're actually still in plastic at the moment. I haven't opened them. Then I went to an event at Books of Wonder for Maggie Stiefvater when she was in New York City, and it was really exciting, but actually the first 2 books that I bought from Books of Wonder were not by her. Those are The Penderwicks in Spring and The Penderwicks at Last. These are the last 2 books in the Penderwick series. There's a total of 5 of them. I've read the first 2 so far and I really love them, and I particularly wanted to pick them up from Books of Wonder because they had an event with the author, I want to say last year, so they still have some signed copies in stock. So both of these are signed and I'm so glad because I really love this series. Then the books that are signed by Maggie that I got are Lament and Ballad, which are her fairy books. I have never read these, so I kind of impulsively picked them up and I'm really excited to get to them because I love fairies, so I hope that these will live up to my expectations. Then Orbit Books sent me a copy of The Rosewater Insurrection, and this is the second book in the Rosewater series by Tate Thompson. This is a Nigerian sci-fi novel. There is a biological aspect to it, so I've been meaning to read the first one and I'm very excited to do so, and now I can read the second one right afterward. Then Penguin Teen sent me these really beautiful copies of Hold Still and We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. Hold Still just got re-released in paperback with this beautiful new cover, and it kind of matches We Are Okay. I really love that publishers have been going toward illustrated covers. Those tend to be my favorite, so I think that these are perfect. I've actually never read Hold Still, so I'm really excited to do that. I want to say it was the 10-year anniversary. Sounds like it's gonna be good. Then I've been picking up a lot of Star Wars books lately, which you will see in my February wrap-up, and you will also see in my March book haul because I've already started getting Star Wars books in March. But in February, I picked up a copy of Catalyst by James Luceno. This is actually the next novel that I have to read in Star Wars canon. It is a Rogue One story, and it takes place like right before the movie Rogue One. I'm excited because Rogue One is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. Then Disney sent me a copy of The Everlasting Rose by Danielle Clayton. I am really excited to read this one because I really liked the bells. It's kind of like a crazy over-the-top world, but it was so much fun, and it really examines how beauty is valued within a society, and I really enjoyed it, so I've been looking forward to finding out what's going to happen next. I'm not actually sure if it is a duology or a trilogy, but I think it's a trilogy. Then Random House sent me a copy of Suspicious Minds, which is a Stranger Things novel. And this book takes place in the summer of 1969, and it follows Eleven's mom. So you get her entire backstory and like all of the experiments and stuff that were going on. And I cannot wait to read this one. And they also just announced that the second Stranger Things novel is coming out very soon, like within a month or two, I think. That one is going to focus on Hopper's backstory. Then this is Sophie's newest book. I always really enjoy her stories. I thought My Not So Perfect Life was like one of my favorite books of the year when I read it. I want to say it was like 2 years ago. So I've been really highly anticipating this one. It sounds super cute. I also got to go to an event and meet Sophie at the Random House offices, and that was really awesome. She was so nice. And also just how cute. How cute is that illustration? I love the little coffee and the laptop. Next, and this was not in my January book haul because I went to the event for it on like January 29th, and I had already filmed, and that is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. So I went to the Strand and I saw her event there. She answered a ton of questions and she signed this for me, and I'm so excited. Then Tor sent me a copy of Blood Witch by Susan Dennard, and this is the technically fourth book in the Witchland series. It's technically the third full novel, but there's also Sight Witch. So Adawan, who is on the cover, he is my favorite character in the series, so I have been looking forward to this one, but unfortunately I didn't really like Wind Witch, so I'm not sure exactly when I'll be getting to this, but I think I will probably eventually read it. Then I picked up a finished copy of In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire. This was not my favorite installment in the series, but I really do like the series as a whole, and I wanted to have a completed set of them, so that was why I picked this one up. It is heavily inspired by The Goblin Market, and it follows the character Lundy. Then Penguin sent me a copy of Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schultz. This sounds like a really fun fantasy. One of the things that I really like about it is that it's actually a standalone novel, so it's just like a one and done. Like, you read this, you get a full story, you don't have to wait a couple years for the next one. And this one sounds really fun because not only is it a fantasy novel, but it's also a murder mystery, so I think that that will be pretty compelling and have me like turning the pages fairly quickly. Then Orbit sent me a copy of The Raven Tower by Anne Leckie. This is a new fantasy novel, and Anne Leckie has primarily written science fiction. She wrote the Ancillary Justice series. I think that's the first book in it. The Ancillary series, we'll call it that, because all three titles have ancillary as the first word. This is her first fantasy novel. I also really love the cover. So it takes place in this city where the city is watched over by this god called the Raven, and they have to offer a blood sacrifice to it in order for it to keep protecting the town. Sounds like it's gonna be great. Then Disney sent me a copy of Sal and Gabby Break the Universe. I actually don't know too much about this one. It is a middle grade novel, and it's part of Rick Riordan Presents. So I would imagine that there is some kind of like mythology aspect to it because all of the books in that imprint tend to have mythological roots. So it sounds like Sal is a magician and he has the ability to manipulate space, and maybe Gabby can manipulate time, and they're kind of putting the universe in jeopardy, which sounds quite interesting. Then I placed a little book outlet order, which is much smaller than my book outlet orders have been in the past, so I'm kind of gonna go through these a little bit quickly, but I am really excited with the titles that I picked up. So the first two that I got are Cocoa Beach by Beatrice Williams and The Wicked City by Beatrice Williams. These are the only two Beatrice Williams books that I didn't currently own, so now I have all of them. I really loved 100 Summers, which I read in January, so I do want to go back and read everything that she has written, and these were so cheap, which that's why I love book outlet. Then I picked up Dear Mrs. Bird by AJ Pierce, and this follows a character during World War II, and she really wants to be a war correspondent, but something like some kind of funny thing happens and she ends up becoming an advice columnist accidentally. And I think she's really only supposed to focus on like the positive kinds of questions that she's asked, but she starts kind of picking out the negative ones because she realizes that this is wartime and people are kind of depending on like actual advice. And I know a couple people who have read it and really enjoyed it, so I jumped at the chance when I saw a hardcover for like $6. Then I got this book, which is called This Is Where You Belong, Finding Home Wherever You Are. This is actually a nonfiction book, and it's all about just like taking full advantage of your environment. I guess making you realize that even though you might be in a place where you don't want to be at the moment, there probably are still some good things about it that you can find if you go out and seek them. You can't just like wait around and think that exciting things will happen for you. You have to kind of go out and make them happen. And I've heard this book recommended on the What Should I Read Next podcast. So I've been wanting to pick it up since then. And when it was on Book Outlet, I was like, okay, sure. Then I got two like beach read type books by Jamie Brenner. The first one being The Husband Hour and the second one being The Forever Summer. And I don't know too much about either one of these, but they're just adult fiction and they sounded like they were going to be kind of fun. They both have very beachy covers and I thought these would be good for when I need something light and quick between all of my adult fantasy and Star Wars books. Then I have a couple of graphic novels and manga. So I picked up the second volume of Runaways by Rainbow Rowell. I haven't read the first volume yet, but I'm planning on doing so very soon, and I want to really get caught up on the series. I've been watching the show on Hulu and loving it, and I really loved the original comic series when I read it like years and years and years ago. So I'm excited to see like the new take on these characters. I also picked up Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir. I have been reading the Star Wars comics for a while now, and 9 times out of 10, I don't think that they're great, but I really liked this collection. So this is the first one that I've actually liked enough to purchase like a physical copy of. I've been buying them on Comixology when they're on sale, but I thought this was a really solid story. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad to have it for the collection. And then lastly, I got volume 16 of Yona of the Dawn. So this was the most recent volume to come out, and I have to catch up on the series. I've only read up to volume 9, so I need to continue on like really soon. But that is it. That's everything that I have to show you in my book haul for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope that you maybe found a book that you didn't know about before. And that is all that I have for this video. So I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!